Hey Ratbags, it's Jade with news about Avowed's release date and how many different versions you'll now be able to buy if you really want to play it up to 5 days early. Yep, Avowed we knew was coming in February, but I've just revealed today the actual full release date, the 18th of February now. You'll be able to play it either on Game Pass, apparently day one, or by maybe a special edition that offers some of the stuff you're seeing right now. This kind of got leaked a bit too early maybe by a Taiwanese Xbox YouTube channel, but there has been a flurry of announcements since. So yep, you can go and pre-order it now, and it is going to be a $70 game straight off the off, unless you're going to be playing it via Game Pass. The premium edition is going to offer up to 5 days early access, 2 premium skin packs, and access to the Avowed digital art book and soundtrack. This does really suck. I've got a big issue with games that basically ask you to pay more just to play a few days early. It's never been that popular with Ubisoft games, and they've since actually just started to nullify that. They're not doing it anymore for any of their future releases, I do believe. And recently, even today actually, Apple just announced the same thing. Pay more, get early access 3 days early. Maybe it's not a big deal to others, but it does kind of piss me off. I know Obsidian aren't in charge of this, it is the overlords of Microsoft, but it does put just a little bit of negativity in the release for me. That's because the premium edition is $90. You get the base game up to the 5 days early access, 2 premium skin packs, the digital art book and the soundtrack. If you are planning to play on Game Pass, you can pay up to $25 more, and effectively you'll get the same deal. So whatever way you're looking at it, a saving of $5 perhaps if you buy it via Games Pass, or play it on Games Pass and then decide to go for the $25 upgrade. It's just double dipping. As a YouTuber, it pisses me off because it means there's going to be a bunch of people for 5 days that won't necessarily want to see Avowed content because they'll be eager to play it themselves, at least for the first day, meaning my views on videos and stuff will absolutely probably not get as much. And does mean I'll have to go ahead and release a ton of stuff like guides and first gameplay, because if I don't, everyone else is going to beat me to it. And it ends up just a lot of them videos don't often do as good as they would if the game launched all together or everyone got the same sort of access. Don't get me wrong, creators, even me included, will be desperate to see if I can get hold of early access to play a bit early and do a proper review, and that's what I'm hoping. But they still come with embargoes and stuff. And yeah, this kind of stuff is just annoying and does feel like Microsoft are just fleecing people. And given it's such a obviously important story-led RPG, it does mean people are going to have to avoid spoilers even harder. The other stuff I could live with. In fact, if they were to offer more skins and more little bonuses instead of early access, I could just simply ignore it. And most of you guys won't care, you'll just simply wait for the Game Pass version to launch, or go ahead and spend the $24 as an upgrade. Especially if you love the game or the idea of playing obviously in the next version of Pillars of Eternity world. But yeah, I don't like it. So I'm getting that out of the way now, but let's cover more of the details. As I said, there's going to be a premium steelbook version, otherwise known as tin. It'll have all the same stuff, but it will come with a map of the living lands, a letter from the developers, and of course, yeah, the tin box. As we saw from the trailer from the start of this video, the map does look pretty cool. But man, remember Skyrim when that gave it to you for like literally free? This all does feel just a little bit miserly coming from Microsoft here with some of these bonuses and stuff. I guess I should be a little bit grateful we're getting a physical copy edition at least, as Microsoft don't usually buy into this. Only as like special editions. Grounded, we had to wait a good few months after its release, a year and a bit in fact, before we got the chance to buy one via that way. And though Microsoft have almost got a blanket policy now on not really making disc-based games. Maybe I'll change my mind near the time, because I'll be forced to have to go and buy it now. Maybe it will be worth a good value. We'll have to wait and see. So the skins at least have a collection of skins for each one of the first 2 characters, I do believe, that you're going to be coming across. The Aura collection set and the Obsidian collection set. 5 skins, 1 for each of the game's 4 companions and 1 for your player character. Okay, that's pretty cool. The rest of this blog does detail some other good positive stuff though, like accessibility features for all players. Third person mode is going to be there. I still see people wondering why it's just a first person game. They actually announced this a good few months ago now, that there will be a third person mode if you want it. It will only be activated though via the accessibility mode. Obsidian did a really great job with this, and the Grounded team pretty much adding a bunch of this stuff like the UI and camera adjusting stuff, text and subtitles, controls and languages. They've also revealed the minimum specs for PC. Nothing too crazy or taxing here. In fact, the minimum is 1070 GTX. No wording on what maybe they recommend, but I guess that will be on the Steam page. A 75 GB install size, that's a pretty chunky one though. And yeah, surprisingly absolutely nothing for pre-ordering. In the age where you can slap together a bunch of shit and sell it for a bit more money, surely it would have made sense to give at least one pre-order skin if you're going to go down this route. And I guess we'll cover this briefly. Phil Spencer's been yapping his mouth off again, talking about all sorts, about why Avowed was delayed out in November. And Phil Spencer has repeated the same thing that they said at the time, which they're doing so it has time to breathe and not basically be involved in some fierce competition. Before this announcement, Assassin's Creed was meant to be releasing pretty much the same week. We obviously had Dragon Age and the Veil Guard released just a couple of weeks ago or whatever, and a bunch of other stuff also happening. While maybe not being RPGs, definitely still would have had an impact. But yeah, absolutely nothing to do with the game's quality, according to Phil Spencer. We can afford it when we have the Diablo expansion, then Black Ops, then Indiana, and the Great Circle, he said. We didn't move it because Obsidian needed time, they'll use the time. Which is kind of interesting because yeah, now they are releasing literally 4 days after Assassin's Creed Shadows, or a day before if you're buying the premium edition. And a few other notable big games like Civilization, Monster Hunter Wilds is releasing in February 2, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which I didn't realise was releasing then. They are some big RPGs and big open world games. It might be benefiting Xbox's Game Pass schedule, but it seems to pretty much be fucking over Obsidian right now, putting their release in literally the middle of all these other big games. No doubt that I think Avowed will stand on its own. I've been eagerly anticipating since the first reveal trailer back in 2020. And everything I've seen, I really enjoyed the gameplay snippets we saw, and I did a breakdown of the last gameplay that we saw too. It all looks great, it all gives me that vibe, that Skyrim-esque vibe with its own flavour. But still, I want these games to do well. I guess it still probably will on Games Pass, but up against some of these other big games, surely they could have moved it to a better date. To be fair though, Assassin's Creed announced their delay just afterwards, while the other games hadn't actually had a ballpoint figure. So yeah, still surprising. They could have still chosen a later date or a different date. And, maybe a bit surprising, maybe not, no mention about whether or not it's going to come to PlayStation. Given a few of their games recently have appeared on other platforms like Pentiment and Grounded recently on PlayStation, you would assume that maybe with all the talk about their no games being like a red line that could potentially cross and move onto other platforms, that Avowed might be one of the first. But it does look like whatever's going to go on, it could be a timed exclusive, it won't be certainly there at launch on PlayStation. I don't know, maybe I should be a bit happier that at least we've got a full release date now, at least I can be hyped and know. And it's each down to us whether or not we're going to pony up the extra money. But it just does stink a little bit of corporate greed. I'm just not seeing enough to make me go, wow, amazing. Not yet at least, anyway. Let me know what you think about this. We get any more gameplay snippets? I reckon there'll be something shown off at the Game Awards, maybe later into this month or beginning of December, whenever it is. And I'll see you right back with some more news about Avowed soon.